That Professor Persaud, you have painted a fairly dark picture for us going forward unless we change our method of how we do things. But the suggestions that you put forward seem to suggest a long learning curve or a long curve to change. What could you do in this period of time to address some of the issues that presently face the country? One, if the world goes into a double-dip recession or if it's a prolonged recession. And two, given the fiscal condition that both yourself and Clyde outlined, what particular transfers would you think that we could eliminate at this time that will not cause severe hardship on the average Barbadian?
I think there are many things we can do. I think at the end of the day, and it comes back to something that Lindsay said, it's about boldness by our politicians. It's easier to come up with the initiatives than it is to implement them through the political process. But I think that where we are today, there is limited scope of macro policy. There is some scope, but there's limited scope. It means we need to look not at the total amount of expenditure, but the composition of that expenditure. We need to make sure that we are spending that money in the most efficient way possible in terms of employment, in terms of the social objectives of that expenditure. I think there is room for improving efficiencies and improving the impact of that expenditure. I think in changing the way we do government is not something that takes 20 years to do. I think that we can change the way government operates, and I think, to echo what Clyde said, technology will be a major part of that. E-government will have a major impact on the way citizens interact with their government, making things easier and more service-oriented. Legislation, which makes it easier for companies to set up. We, in effect, criminalize our entrepreneurial sector. How many of us have come across a tradesman, an entrepreneur, aggressive entrepreneur, but you know they're operating on the edge of legality. They're using something that's not quite right. They've got the store in an illegal place. They're not doing their VAT. They're not doing X. They're not doing Y. And as a result of that illegality, they can never borrow money and never expand. We need to find a way of decriminalizing entrepreneurship for small black business. And I think we can do that. I don't think that takes 25 years to do. I think we can do that. I think there are a number of things that we can do. It requires political boldness.
We have two more questions. My name is Roosevelt. I found the session very enlightening. Thanks to the panel, first of all, for that. A couple of things that I made note of, and forgive me for using my phone during the session, but I get the sense that a lot of the corrections that are required are going to be long-term. And I just want to make a comment that Barbados has a long history of strong education. And we need now to connect that strong educational structure to innovation and entrepreneurship, get that into the schools, even from the primary school level. And when forgive me, but I watch a lot of TV, and when I see on my television, I see kids in the U.S. and metropolitan areas being exposed to a lot of innovation. I think that we try to do some of that with Initech. That needs to be a little more involved. I just want to make a political point here that it seems as though this government has the philosophy of spending money somebody can pay. But my question really is, because each one of us are players in this economy too, and we've heard what the government can do and so on. What can citizens do at all levels to help each other and help this society out of this challenge that we have facing us?
What can citizens do? What I can tell you is that maybe a little bit shocking. One of the big problems that we have involved with this is generally productivity issues. But even if you improve productivity by 20 or 30%, it doesn't make much difference around. Right now, it can make a lot of difference for the long term. So if you really want to make a contribution to the society, don't see it just in terms of this narrow window, this narrow perspective. See it in terms from a long-term perspective. You want to live in a society which delivers better service to locals, to visitors. You want to live in a society which is more productive. And therefore, you will redouble your efforts. At the end of the day, contribute to a society which is much better, both socially and economically. And therefore, will have more of a room and more capacity to address these types of issues. It's always not inappropriate. It's always unfortunate when we wait till the crisis comes to ask what we can do, but we didn't ask it before the crisis occurred. And the nature of this recession, and particularly the macroeconomic profile that we're confronted with, is going to make it a little bit. It's going to make it a little bit, make it somewhat trying, and it's the leadership necessary from the government's part. People are going to become confused and so on. But and to address that particular issue, it is why we are crying out for the leadership, why you're talking about the need for budget, why you're talking about trying to articulate what the issues are. Those are objective statements. But whatever you do now will contribute to a better economy in the long term.
Good night to the panel. My name is Indar. And this can go to any one of the panelists. In a subsidized transport board, how long can we continue granting 65,000 school children free bus fare? And maybe you don't laugh. Free bus fare. How long can this go on, Clyde, in this economy and at this present moment?
I'm going to give everybody else a chance to answer, but I'm going to tell you this. It can continue indefinitely, but it can continue indefinitely if you make adjustments in other expenditures and other expenditures. And this is the basic way it works. If you're running the government and you've carefully thought of what the issues are, you're going to attach priority to some areas of expenditure. And what has happened is that you've added school children to the list, but even before the addition of school children, public transport was subsidized. So what you're doing now is you're subsidizing greater numbers. And if that is a priority, what it therefore then means is that you're going to make the appropriate expenditure cuts in other areas of the budget so that you can continue that indefinitely if you determine that it is a cornerstone of your social policy.
It wasn't even part of the manifesto, so it could not have been considered as such. I'm so glad that you mentioned transport. Transport is one area in which we need to innovate. That transport board has in excess of $200 million in accumulated deficits over the years. Do you feel that a private concessionaire stays around in that industry for 20 years or more because he loves the passengers? Do you feel that a private concessionaire who has operated on a fixed bus fare for the last 20 years or more is making a loss? Why do you not feel that the transport sector offers a major opportunity for average Barbadians to participate more fully in the delivery of the service? So why should we keep the transport board as it is? And for whom? It is a waste of time. And by the way, because I suspect that when I check my DNA, that perhaps I'm not truly a politician. As opposition leader, I replied to a budget and outlined all of the issues surrounding the transport board, the Barbers Wall Authority, the NHC, the Jones Recall, and I put positions as an opposition parliamentarian that I suspect shocked the ruling party. I still hold dearly to those positions. It is a prime opportunity to give others like you, Smiley, and others in Barbados that chance. You see all the old talk about taxis? You see those taxis? Those taxis have made persons like you, Smiley, businessmen. You agree? You're a businessman. You are a sole trader. You have to know your costs. You have to know when you make your income such that you can apportion it over the course of the year to pay your loans and fix the cars and do all these things, don't you? So why can't you get involved in a bigger operation? So why pretend that giving a free bus fare to a school child is a social transforming event? It is ignorance. You understand? Because it is ignorance because the very government that you are seeking to further subsidize is already making substantial losses. You understand? And I still view, and there's an opportunity therefore in many other areas of government to give other people, other than government, a chance to make money and do it far more effectively and efficiently. There's a need for it. But I end on this note.